And first of all, introduce myself first. My name is Cyril from MakerBay Foundations, the Executive Director of MakerBay. And it's really great that today we have another speaker, Cheney, joining us to share about his experience. Because I think AI or generative AI is quite common terms nowadays. But actually, how's the future application, how it can be change our daily life, it will be a quite crucial discussion now. And actually, this webinar is also part of our Jockey Cup AI Community Innovation Program, which aims to bring the AI training to the underserved youth. So we conduct free training to the student age from 8 to 18. So we provide free AI training for them so that they can access to the knowledge of AI and also being prepared their future career and also using AI to learn as well. So at the same time, we have another type of activity that's more on growing AI community so that everyone who are interested in AI, you can, through this program, to learn more about it. And also, if you are interested to support those students, those underserved students, feel free to reach out to us, and we can have a lot of things to support those youth. So back to today's topic. So maybe let me pass my time to Cheney to share more.
Thank you for the introduction. Hi, everyone. My name is Cheney. I'm the co-founder and group CEO of Apoidea. Today, I would like to share with you a new product that I've been doing, which is a information summary platform. But then through this product, what I actually want to walk you through is like, I guess many of you have been, at least have heard or have already been using ChatGPT or POE, that kind of, we call large language model. We all feel the amazement from it, but then I guess I would like to walk you through why it's so amazing, what it can do in the business world, in studying, in other areas, why it's so important. And I would like to share you some frontier research results from the research community so that we can slightly better understand what it could be in half a year time, in a year time, or 2 year times. Because I guess it becomes very important for us to understand where we are as a humanity. Some people have been mentioning like AI as something very scary that could replace our work, replace a job, or even one day like that could replace human totally. So where's the boundary? How we would become? How we would not become? I guess that's a very interesting topic. So I'd like to have a sharing quickly, then open the floor for Q&A. So what we're doing, Apoidea is an AI company. We have been creating a new app called Arbor News, which our headline is we are reconstructing the internet with a 100-word summary. I'll walk you through later, and explain a bit more on how we will use generative AI on that. But then, like, to first introduce ourselves, Apoidea Group is a AI company. We have been around for almost 7 years. 7 years ago, there was no ChatGPT, but the study in how machine can understand language is an old area. It's called natural language processing. So in the past, we have already been providing like our AI solutions to banks, to financial institutions, to help them streamline their document processing process, to help them save at least like 10x of the time. For me, I guess like AI has always been around how it can help people saving their time, so we can focus on more important things, to focus on things that machine cannot do. I guess they will only become more and more important on this specific area. It becomes a very important topic for each of us to think about what will be our unique selling point, what will the things that machine cannot replace, and of course, most importantly, what are the things that we should actively push to the machine so that we can focus on more important things in life. So to start with, I guess all of you should have heard about ChatGPT, but probably you don't know what GPT means. It's a very techy thing, but it also somehow explains the nature of that. The full name of GPT is actually Generative Pre-trained Transformer. Generative means it's a way that it could generate new content word by word. So that's why when you play along ChatGPT or POE, you will see that like each word would be like generated one by one, because like the nature of that is like by reading the text you input, it'll start to predict the next word that will be most relevant. So it's the nature of this large language model. So that's why it's generative. Pre-trained here means that like this kind of AI is like all other kinds of AI. It does require a pre-training. So the pre-training here is actually coming from tons of books, websites, Wikipedia. So whatever kind of quality input it can see on the internet at a snapshot. But pre-trained also means like it will only be able to predict or like to generate words or knowledge as far as is within the data set that has been pre-trained. That's why you'll be hearing from the news, or you have been seeing yourself that ChatGPT can only answer questions up to 2021, because ChatGPT was trained based on news, any kind of information prior to 2021. That's the reason. And last word, transformer. Transformer is basically a very technical term around a type of AI architecture, a neural network architecture that can handle very complex relationships between words. So if you are not in this area, you don't have to remember what is a transformer. Just to remember, it's not like the movie, like that kind of like robot. So GPT. I guess it's good to understand each word and somehow have a better understanding of like the nature of that. We know that like ChatGPT is very powerful. People have been doing that for many things, answering your question, planning your study, planning your traveling trip, like generating some Q&A questions so that you can prepare for your next exam. Is very powerful. But then I guess like it becomes a very big topic that puzzles everyone. Why is AI different this time? So I guess many of you here probably still remember exactly also like almost 7 years ago, there was a AlphaGo developed by Google DeepMind that was able to compete on the game of Go YK, much better than world champions, and triggered a lot of hype around AI. We all thought that AI would become so powerful since 2016, which was not the case. But then like that triggered a lot of the worry and tension. Wow, even like the best Go player in the world will lose to AI. So what kind of areas will be losing to AI? But what's the difference since then? I guess like the biggest thing from AlphaGo to ChatGPT is AlphaGo was focused purely on Go. Even though like DeepMind tried to transfer the architecture, the learning, the model to do other games. So it successfully played Atari games, to play international chess, or even we, including many other people, have been using the same architecture to do quantitative trading on our own. Because it has the ability to do something so-called reinforcement learning. It learns from hundreds of thousands of repeated training to learn from the pattern. It works. But then it seems that when DeepMind tried to use AlphaGo to do other things, for example, to play the game of StarCraft, if you are like a fan of playing Warcraft, StarCraft, Age of Empire, that kind of like strategic game, you know that it's very difficult. It's so dynamic. It involves so much like dynamic situation. And yes, AlphaGo couldn't handle that. Not to mention, DeepMind also tried to put AlphaGo to play the game of Minecraft, but they also failed. Why? Because like from the game of Go, it has a very clear and straightforward rules. You have to put one stone on the board. Your opponent will put another stone on the board, As long as you have 4 stones surrounding your opponent's stone, you can take away their stone. It's a very straightforward, clear rule, no ambiguity. But then in the game of StarCraft or Minecraft, there are so many things happening that require common sense. And I guess that would becomes a very good trigger point. We all thought AI is smart. AI was smart before ChatGPT, but not that smart. Probably when I talk about because there is common sense, then it will then it's the aha for you as well, right? ChatGPT seems to have common sense, and I guess that makes the biggest difference, because even in the past when we were doing a lot of automation in the business process for the banks, it is called robotic process automation, RPA. We know that we still have to involve human in most of the process, because we will be complaining AI having no common sense. So that's why we need people having common sense to address critical decisions. We will only allow robots or like the RPA tools to go through steps that we have designed and would never change. But it's different right now. AI can even replace us on the common sense judgment side. So what would be the more actual example? As I mentioned, AlphaGo tried to play Minecraft but failed because it didn't have common sense. But then like in this April, NVIDIA, the GPU manufacturer, released a paper that amazes everyone. In the research paper, NVIDIA put the GPT-4 robot in the Minecraft game, and it successfully did 10x more tasks than the AlphaGo like robot and any other robots. Why? Because in the game of Minecraft, you can do whatever you can do, but some of there are tasks that are requiring pretty much common sense, like building a house. How could a robot know the steps to build a house without knowing what the concept of a house? But because GPT knows what is a house, knows that a house would require a rooftop, four sides of wall, windows, doors. So it also started to find relevant materials in the Minecraft world to build a house that at least look like a house. That's a very good example of common sense in the robot way. In a more practical way, I was delivering a sharing to a food delivery company, and then exploring the use case of generative AI. I was saying, especially in the Chinese society, like I once remember a Islamic friend visiting Hong Kong. He's an Indian. He doesn't eat pork. When we visit like Cha Lao, like the Chinese restaurant, and trying to introduce dim sum, I almost forgot that even in the shrimp dumpling, hagao, Chinese restaurant would actually usually use pork oil, 猪油, to make like the shrimp dumpling smell better and taste better. And I almost like trigger my Indian friends like dietary restriction. Remember, if you recall on the food delivery apps, they will never say shrimp dumpling has pork oil, because it's usually just shrimp dumpling. So even when the smartest app design in a food delivery app, you can search shrimp, then you can get shrimp. If you say you search no pork, then they will show you all options that has no pork in the name. But without common sense, the app would never be able to exclude shrimp dumpling from you if you say you don't eat pork. Another very good example is 早餐. Like after all, how like usually 餐 means like all those 葱蒜芫茜. That actually this kind of 餐 would never be mentioned in the name of a dish. If so, how can you like 早餐 when you do the food search? It's not possible until, because ChatGPT now would have like the common sense ability in understand what is 10, and will understand what kind of like green plants would be categorized as that, and will also know that a beef brisket noodle usually has chong. So that kind of common sense would help us to build much smarter application that knows you much better. Also like to help you do much better item search. Say if it's a I was doing this presentation in summer, so like the example was like when it's very hot, you want something cold and refreshing. It's a very vague description. So if you just type this in your food delivery app, you'll never get the result. But then a common sense engine would be to understand that, okay, you want something cold, and if you want something refreshing means you want something sour. So very likely it will introduce you to have like juice or like lemon tea. Like it's now becoming very popular in Hong Kong for that kind of new type of lemon tea, or like probably you would like to have fruit tea. Then it could give you similar recommendation results instead of like showing nothing. So common sense is very important in our day-to-day life. We always complain people don't have common sense, but finally we can also say AI has common sense, or even in the future, it's probably a very humiliating way to complain a person even having less common sense than an AI. But then of course, like, what can this kind of common sense engine be really used, especially in a business setting? People have been finding out two problems with ChatGPT that we need to solve, especially in a business setting. First one is like it's only up to date till 2021. That means it doesn't know about the Israeli conflict. It doesn't know about the Ukrainian war. So if I want to have reliable result from that, what can I do? No, it doesn't. ChatGPT cannot help. The second issue is, what about if I want to search not just public knowledge, but something private, my private record, company data. I want to search within the HR policy to know that like under what situation I can have sick leave without doctor's paper. That kind of situation would be very embarrassing because like corporate definitely doesn't want to share any private data with ChatGPT or OpenAI. And that definitely doesn't want it to be learned in other people's model. So that's why there's a new phase coming out from that. It's called Retrieval Augmented Generation, RAG. That what it does is the ChatGPT case is kind of dummy in a sense. It's very smart, but it's also very dumb. The reason why I say that is like, if you have been familiar with a computer, you know that like we will have CPU to process, to compute, and we have hard disk and memory to store the things, right? But then for the case of ChatGPT, the funny thing is the very big AI itself is both the memory and both the hard disk and the CPU. And we definitely know that it's not efficient. Like we should let CPU be processing and let hard disk be storing. So the whole concept around RAG is also the same. We want to separate processing reasoning engine and hard disk and the database. So that's why what people do here is like they will store especially like latest information and or private information in a database, in a specifically designed database, which we call a vector database, VECTOR, or we'll call it a semantic database, that we don't store data just by the word it has. We try to put the words into a so-called embedding, is a very long length of high dimensional number. So we all know what is 3D. 3D means like we can go left or right, front or back, or like up and down, right? That's 3D. But then try to imagine it's also like 3 columns of Excel, right? A high dimensional data means we actually have like 300 columns. So it's like 300D. And by doing so, we can, by measuring the distance between subject and we can understand a meaning. Say the distance from me and you is friend. It means friend. So it's a very funny concept, but it's basically the foundation in the whole AI we're talking about. And vector database is a database to store this kind of relationship by the high dimensional distance and position. And it becomes a very efficient way to search relevant answer. So it's the database part. Because we now have a very efficient way to answer questions by retrieving the most relevant article or paragraphs, the next thing is then we can get the most relevant paragraphs into ChatGPT and let it summarize and answer it in a way that human can understand. So that's why it's also retrieval and generation. By doing so, it becomes very powerful if you have been using Bing search, which is like the Microsoft version of ChatGPT. You'll see that it actually can search the internet and find your answer and write you a short summary that makes sense. It's a very powerful tool, and it will basically be driving the future of this kind of application. And to break through the limitation of AI only having data up to 2021, also breaking through a limitation of you have to send every of your personal and private and sensitive information to ChatGPT, to OpenAI. But of course, there's limitation. This kind of retrieval is still very early stage, premature, so it may not always give you retrieve the perfect answer. And ChatGPT without a good answer, it will be garbage in, garbage out. So it could still be very bad in the results. So that's why if you have been using Bing Chat, you will be experiencing that Bing Chat could sometimes be answering even worse than ChatGPT, even though it has the latest data. Because even when you search for the latest data, it may not be the accurate one, but ChatGPT doesn't know that. In this case, ChatGPT only summarizes the result from the database. It doesn't really reason much within that. And because of that, it is better to be with a good search engine algo to search efficiently within a large database. So we kind of rely the role of finding right answer to the database than ChatGPT here. So what can it be done? The obvious, you can do internal manual reference chatbot for the compliance, for the HR, for the risk. In the business case, when client asks you to write a proposal, it can research your past proposals for different clients and summarize a good proposal report that's doable. Customer servicing chatbot is also very straightforward application of that. Not so obvious solution here is like client profile writing or summary. Is quite common in the banking world, that after meeting with a client, like the bankers have to write a summary to explain the background of the client and whether we should like the bankers should do business for with this client. By retrieving the meeting notes to write a summary is obvious. But then the not so obvious part is what about like linking also with the news and also like the financial data of the customer, so that ChatGPT can gather both private and public data to write a summary. That's the not so obvious part. And also like in a customer service chatbot, instead of just answering like product question, like common FAQ, actually we can also fit in the customer past records in the database, so that like the customer servicing chatbot can answer personalized question. Say who you are, like you have been like a returning customer, so being more friendly to you, that kind of like customization would be a very powerful use case as well. So for us, like it goes back to the point, we have been doing a thing called Arbor. So what it is? So I've always been thinking SEO, if you know, like search engine optimization is a very inefficient practice. Because when we search on the internet, search on Google, we'll try to find out the answer on like what is what is something. Then Google will return you 10 links. And in the world of everyone fighting to have exposure in Google, people will write the same article again and again and again, just trying to game the search engine and so that your blue link could go higher in the rank. Because of that, the internet is full of 99.99% repeated rubbish. And it becomes very difficult for you to find out the right link. So you have to click this and click that to really get to the answer. And even when you read news, most of the news will have to repeat the basic facts, so that, like, for example, recently, most of you, I guess, have been following the Israeli-Palestinian conflict. Very likely there are over 200, 500 news already. You want to keep updated on the progress, but you don't want to keep repeatedly read the same thing. So that's why we build Arbor News. We want to reconstruct the internet by if there are over 200 news mentioning like the start of the Israeli conflict, of the Gaza conflict, then we'll group all of them together using similar technique we have mentioned. But by then, I first generate a 100-word summary on the overall event. It's just a snippet. It's just a preview to the whole thing. But then we'll also be taking the unique elements of each article to form what we call a 360 summary. For example, source A and source B here both have the red boxes that are technically mentioning the same thing. Then we'll group it together, have another 100 summaries summarizing what has been talked about in this unique perspective. Then we group this and that together until we find exclusive insight. For example, source B here has an exclusive insight shown in like a empty yellow box, so on and so on. So what we want to achieve here is like we think there are many good articles that has been least read from anyone, because in our like social media world, we are promoting like the mass majority option. We'll be ignoring the good quality but less popular perspectives, which is bad for humanity. So what we want to achieve here is we want to show people the right and unique and exclusive insights. We want to promote exclusive insights. Under our system, it becomes meaningless to mention and write the same thing again and again, because after all, it's still summarized into a 100 word. And when people expand on the source list, we'll be ranking all the sources by the time it's written. So of course, like the earliest will be promoted on the top, and the others nobody will click on that. But then if you are successfully mention exclusive insight, like here, like the pink empty box, like is a exclusive insight from the source D, it will be highlighted, it will be promoted. Then just like on the left hand side, there's a quick screen demo. You can see when I scroll down, there is like a on CC exclusive insight. There's a HKEJ exclusive insight. And because of that, people will be very interested to know what is the exclusive insight from HKEJ symbol. And we hope to drive quality traffic to people that who will be willing to subscribe quality media, want to drive traffic to the quality media that has been provided exclusive insight so that people will read on the articles. That's our vision. We've just launched for 2 weeks. Welcome to Dano and give us some feedback. It's still early. Like we talk about news just because we think like news is still the credible source or information pillar. But then in the upcoming version, we're already expecting to expand into non-news area, including videos, including a columnist blog, and etc. So hopefully what we want to do is really to reconstruct the whole internet with like unique insight instead of like repeated blue links on the Google search result. We want to kill SEO one day. So that's the end. It's kind of around RAG, which is like the biggest practical application of large language model or ChatGPT right now. And let me spend 3 more minutes to share some future tense application that will open up the floor. The first thing is there have been some experts on the street complaining ChatGPT having no real sense of strategic planning or long-term planning, so that they think like ChatGPT or this kind of large language model cannot replace human. But also during similar time, DeepMind is coming back with exactly the very good AlphaGo AI algorithm to solve this problem. So if we recall, like the game of Go YK is actually a very difficult game, because like usually it will be involving around 80 to like 120 moves per game. So if you want to win a game, you have to be really you have to be having a really good big picture and very long-term planning skill. The way DeepMind try to solve this problem is by really calculating a issue tree of what would happen by each step of move, and by calculating the probability and value of each move, so that it would cut down some less popular, less viable option to save the computational time. DeepMind released a paper earlier to show that this kind of like Monte Carlo tree search could also be applied in ChatGPT. If we ask ChatGPT to keep asking itself, is this a good answer? How can I break down this question into sub-issues? Then what can I further do step by step? This kind of like tree of thoughts approach can successfully help AI do long-term planning. So what we could imagine is the next version of like AI very likely driven by DeepMind's new AI model with Google, which is called Gemini, will see very impressive long-term planning capability and the ability to solve sophisticated problem by AI because of this Monte Carlo tree search approach. Another very recent research result coming from just like the last 2 weeks of research is that if you have been using ChatGPT, you'll realize that ChatGPT would easily forget what you say. So you cannot really like put the whole PDF into ChatGPT, otherwise the result is bad. But then there has been breakthrough in that by reconstructing the whole AI architecture better. Now there is something a technique called streaming LLM that can handle almost unlimited number of texts. So the biggest application is like finally it can read the whole book, and because like the ability to absorb really huge scale of knowledge into consideration, it can do much better reasoning. Like I know there have been professors and academia in this sharing. Probably when you write academic research, you will have to quote 10 to 20 researchers, right? So that's kind of like the scope. You need the AI to be smart enough so that it can really handle sophisticated question. It needs to have common sense, and under very specific area, you want it to be able to digest 20 to 30 academic papers, then writing something new. In the past, ChatGPT wasn't able to do that, but with this new streaming LLM approach, we finally can really net AI to read 20 academic paper first, then writing something new on top of that. Last but not least, I guess that's the most powerful, and we can also say is the most scary part, is that the most amazing application of ChatGPT is not just to help you write your job application letter. It is because of the common sense. You can actually link up the ChatGPT to question itself and on decision it makes. It can have a common sense judgment on the input. And by doing so, you can have common sense automation in the process as well. Just like you have a human-like reasoning in the decision-making process. We have been doing a POC with a bank. The bank wants to do a contract review automation because the commercial bankers would need to review the drafts from their clients on facility letter. Facility letter is the legal document on borrowing money from the bank. The legal team doesn't want to do that on their own every time because like the amount is huge. So the legal team actually will pass on a guidebook to the commercial bankers and let the commercial bankers to flag whether the client's changes are within the guidebook. As long as it's within the guidebook, the commercial bankers can handle themselves. But if it's out of the guidebook, then the bank has to flag the legal team for further review. We have been carrying out a POC and successfully proves that like ChatGPT, this kind of large language model can make that kind of judgment by comparing the client's contract draft versus the bank's guidebook on facility letter terms. It can make a A-B decision. A decision, accept the term. B decision, escalating this to the legal team. By having this like simple common sense switch, we now can offload this kind of escalation work from the banker to a truly fully automated robot. That is like the biggest power of AI. Again, as we say, by taking out the common sense element from human work. So a lot of repeated common sense job in the middle back office actually doesn't have to be done by human anymore. While human can focus on meeting with clients, doing presentation, having sharing, like really focus on works that humans still do better because of the emotion, because of the communication. So I guess my closing remarks here is like, imagine if like the AI one day can take over 80% of the back office work. How would that be changing your life, my life, everyone's life? I guess I do. At one more scary thing was another research done by Tsinghua University before. If I was talking about one autonomous agent here, but then what about if we have a team of autonomous agents? So the funny thing here is, Tsinghua University had this like experiment by putting 10 autonomous agents together to work in a virtual company. There is a CEO, there's a designer, there's a programmer, there's a product manager. Then by letting the autonomous agents working well with each other, it helps clarifying the customer demand. It helps plan on what kind of like task has to be done in a program. It can create a mini app in 5 minutes. So I guess like when we were young, we watched a lot of like movies about AI, about robots. We probably would have imagined AI is one thing. It's like a god, like it's just one thing and be everywhere. But actually, like the development of AI seemingly is not that way. We are going to face a robotic society, which like when the robots work together, they may be working better than humans working with each other. So it's an emerging trend that probably will also trigger our thoughts a lot. Like what happens if there's a robotic society, especially when it comes to like Hong Kong government is promoting Web3 very, very well. There's been early experiment on actually blockchain, probably not for human. Actually, blockchain could be for the machines, for the AIs. So what if like AIs leveraging the blockchain network and form a robotic society faster and more efficient than human? Then what could we do? What will the future? I guess I'll leave that as the closing remark and open the floor for any questions. Thank you.
Thanks, Cheney. So I think it's really informative and cover a lot of things in the sharing. So I saw two questions from chat, one from Chris and one from Wendy. So I guess both question is also about the app you are developing. So from Chris, so AI was used to gather news articles from different sources as well, and also Wendy asked, is it exclusive? Exclusive, you mentioned, refer to the difference. So you can share more on how it works.
Sure. Let me reply to Chris first. Yes. So crawler is a old technology. It has been used by Google. That's why Google understand all sorts of websites on the internet. We follow the standard, like to enter into each website and only crawl the links that like the website will allow me to crawl and understand. But then yes, there is a very difficult question on how to exactly understand a website. That has been a challenging question because like each website will be designed so differently with so different HTML design that there is no one way to understand all types of websites. Then it becomes another research topic also by OpenAI is called WebGPT. What they did there is to try to use ChatGPT's common sense ability to understand different types of website design structure. So even if it's on the very different website, the human when human read it, it's so straightforward. It's actually not that straightforward for machine, but now because ChatGPT has a common sense ability, it now improves 10x to 15x better into understanding the actual content on the website. So yes, AI is now being used to gather any kind of information online. So the the answer to the second question from Wendy is exclusive here refers to difference. Yes. But I guess what I want to highlight here is, of course, different article writers, different websites can have their own views. But then when what we try to highlight here is there could be views that shared by many people. Then I'll be showing that one view in one summary, then having the sources with a lot of different websites. But then what I want to highlight and promote the most is the perspectives that nobody else has been talking about. So what we have been building even as the next step is we realize AI asks very reasonable question. And when we all thought that the internet has already got almost everything we need to know about the world, is actually not. When we use AI to generate very reasonable question, follow-up question on a topic, we find out that more than 90% of the very reasonable questions, I cannot, like the AI at the same time cannot find a good answer on the internet. It actually requires human input on that. So it's a very funny observation. And I guess what we try to do right now is if we can successfully consolidate the internet so that we can remove the 99.99% like repeated content. Like imagine like the Google link from the second link to like the 30th page link. If we can remove them all, we're also opening up space to allow humans to contribute more unique content on the internet. We actually have also 99.99% of insights and information offline that has never been put on the internet. So I guess that's a really big space for us to further explore with the help of AI.
Yeah, thanks, Cheney. And I saw another questions from, let me see, from the
Yeah, noting.
Q&A.
Yep.
Yeah.
Would AI do any judgment during the process? I don't think so. AI okay. So the funny thing is, what we are okay. It becomes two questions. Does ChatGPT have any value or judgment? At the very bottom of it, yes, because it's learning from the Bible, learning from like Confucius, Hongzi. So it tends to reply in a way that is following human judgment and human values. So I got a very funny example. I tried to test whether ChatGPT can have like emotional, empathetic answers in its writing. Of course, AI would not have EQ. But then when I asked it to write a breakup letter, it's so good that I don't think I can write the same quality like breakup letter. Or like I asked it to write a resignation letter. The resignation letter is much better than any resignation letter I've received from my ex-colleagues. So here reflects the AI has learned the values, moral from all the quality past sources in the training data, from the Bible, from the Wikipedia, from news, everything. It does adopt human values into it. But then when my algo runs on that, I try to exclude the judgment, because what I do is just by combining perspective. And I even try to ask the AI to distinguish what is fact and what is opinion, so that I can have like better segregation of facts and opinions in the content. So here I want AI trying to be as objective as possible, because subjectiveness should belong to human in my platform setting. And like, is there a question from Vicky on the screen?
Yeah. Another question from
Okay.
Vic. Yeah.
If there's no need for search engine, what would be the future for media and content generator to increase exposure of their content? I guess there would definitely still be search engine. Google may copy what we try to do here as well one day. But I guess my answer is, when the internet now provides better answers so that you don't have to click the 10 links, the only way you can increase exposure is to really provide exclusive insights. Insights that has never been put on the internet. Because what every media person has been scary about, like AI would copy your thing like in a split second, and your thing would be available on the whole internet everywhere. That's very likely the truth. I have known many people have already deployed their AI to write SEO articles. The best houses on the street have been writing SEO articles almost fully automated. And that means that we're having like 10x, 100x, 1000x more rubbish articles on the internet every second. So the only way we can stand would always be providing genuine insights that is valuable and meaningful to human. And hopefully with platform like us, we can help highlight your unique perspective that only human can write about.
Yeah. So, see any other question from the audience?
feel free to ask, or feel free to share your thoughts around AI. Have you been using AI? Have you been pushed to use AI? Or if you are puzzling about how you use AI in your particular job area, feel free to ask.
Yeah, I saw another question from CK.
Mm-hmm.
So from your example of a bank using AI to track loan applications, will the human staff double check AI's decisions, and any way we can avoid AI mistakes for whatever reasons, develop another AI to double check?
Yep, that's a very good question. I think like CK probably also comes from a banking background. And we know that like in a banking world, at least like in front of like HKMA, you cannot make mistakes in your process. So you need a dual checker system for that. So in the past, for our like AI solutions to banks, what we try to do is that we take away the role of doer from human to AI, but of course we still need human in the process as a reviewer. It's not that AI is less accurate than human. Actually, human also makes a lot of mistakes. But it's actually a systemic protection. We need human as the one bearing responsibility. So we need human to be the reviewer. So it becomes a very funny thing. It's a very human thing. So that's why I would never think AI would totally replace human, because it's still a human society and we need human to bear responsibility. That's a key area. That's why humans should still be in their jobs. So for the case of this loan application as well, yes. Even though AI would do all the checking, but then in the process, the RM will still be the one communicating with the client and seeing the results from the AI. So it will still have like the fresh eye from the human, just that the banker doesn't really have to look into term by term in details anymore. I would say in non-banking situation, it really is really a risk and reward judgment. What's the risk of making a mistake? If it's very, very low, then yeah, like you can really automate everything and receive human feedback when something wrong happens. Just like ChatGPT is not perfect right now, it relies heavily from the user to feedback what is not answering right. But then if you are in a banking situation, if you are in a medical situation that you cannot make any mistake, then like the common sense judgment, then the common judgment from the industry is still that AI could only be your co-pilot, which means that AI is your assistant. So this term actually comes from, if you have been watching Marvel movie, Tony Stark, like Iron Man, actually has a sticker on his like pilot jet, which says Travis is my co-pilot. So I guess it's a similar analogy. For most of the area, instead of like AI totally replacing us, it will all more be AI providing a good assistance to the professionals who have been making the final decision.
Yeah, it's cool. So yeah, are there any questions? So just feel free to ask, and yeah, take this chance to share more, or yeah, see any questions.
Yeah.
So because actually when we do training for the student, for the youth, we always remind them that when more people use AI to generate the content, actually, as you said, in the internet, when it even they don't use AI, they just use Google search to find some information. Those information can be generated by AI. So it is something in a situation like it is super difficult for them to fact check, like whether it is accurate information or not. So yeah, we believe that it in future it is one thing that for everyone have to face when they see a lot of information, but how to fact check, how to find the accurate information, that it will be a very big challenges.
Yep. We get another new comment from Winnie. What's the future development plan for the platform? So the very good first question is it will no longer be just a news platform. Again, like what I try to do here is an info summary platform. It could summarize everything we are seeing on the internet. Just that the biggest challenge has always been, where's the credible source or credible seed to form form a event, because there has been tons of rumors on Facebook and Twitter every day. So we rely on news as a signal to trigger a clustering of all sorts of information online into that event group, so that I can generate summary, I can find out perspectives uniquely. News is just a seed to aggregate the full picture of a topic. So very soon will be, like right now it's just Chinese only. We'll be supporting multi-language. We'll be supporting like videos, like YouTube videos in the same event group. We'll be supporting reports like all other media types. So the funny thing is, when it comes to finance, my primary area, because I came from an investment background. If I'm able to say cluster like the Tencent and a result announcement into that event group, we may even create a group prior to any news media reporting it. So AI is now definitely taking up some of the job of disclosing something, explaining something. And the interesting thing would be like, what if we can we can know something before the news has been reported? But then of course, like there has been so many files uploaded onto the internet. How could we know it's like credible? The likely answer is yes. When the Tencent research result announcement has been put online, probably nobody cares yet until people start talking about it. Then the AI would know it's been a hot topic, so we should promote it to more people to see, just like the Facebook algorithm, right? So by doing so, we are really reshaping how people receive information, or even how journalists in the future to collect and report information. My view is facts belongs to AI, and views belong to human. So the future journalism will very likely have to spend less time on reporting repeated coverages that's been done by the internet, that's been done by another media, or probably there will be no value for a media to report on the Tencent result announcement, because AI has done that part. But it would still be very meaningful for future journalists to comment on the Tencent result announcement, to comment on the future development of that. Or because the internet doesn't really have like Pony Ma's like strategic plan and strategic vision, any journalist that is able to interview Pony Ma and get the exclusive insight from Pony Ma on the next 5 years of development of Tencent would be very valuable, because it's not available on the internet, and AI is not possible to know what Pony Ma is thinking. So that will remain the biggest value of journalists, and is exactly echoing the whole theory I'm having. Let human do the thing we do best. AI is still very far away from being able to interview Pony Ma, because that involves a lot of around relationship, trust, sitting in a very comfortable cafe so that Pony Ma will open up and talk more about his strategy. That AI is still very far away from that. Or even because of human bias we are imperfect, so we can't accept perfect AI. So there will still be scenarios that we will only trust and do it with human. So I guess that's a side note to the whole AI versus human thing.
Yeah. So see any other last questions from
Yep.
the audience?
Obviously 2 to 3. We have 6 minutes left. While you guys are typing your questions, let me share one more thing around like the sequence of like career impacts by AI. The funny thing is, I still hear a lot of the youngsters trying to study AI, data science. They thought that, oh yeah, because it's now AI era, let's do data science. My answer is no, because I imagine data science is exactly the area AI can do very well. So in the ChatGPT, like plus version, they already have the function to help you generate programming code and run it for you. Of course, like to rebuild a complete application is still a bit early, But then what it has perfectly solved already is to use the code generation function to understand your data set and generate regression model for you. So there's a data science competition website called Kaggle, Kaggle. When I first experienced that and did like the Titanic data set to predict whether like some passengers pass away or not in the Titanic like tragedy, I spent like 3 days to complete the set when I was first touching that without really knowing the Python code and so on. Guess how long ChatGPT get the perfect answer much better than mine? 3 minutes. I'll make a call that any data analyst within 3 years of experience can totally be replaced by AI now. Not 2 months, not 2 years, now. Of course, like there will still be jobs for the senior data scientists, for the senior guys, because you'll be communicating with the client, with your internal, external client to understand their need, trying to gather the information, which some internal stakeholder may hesitate to give you. A lot of human job, you still have your job to do that. But purely on analyzing data, sorry, AI has already been doing better. The same thing is happening to programming as well. So don't imagine because it's AI era is a good time to be a programmer. It's the worst time to be a programmer. Because we would be imagining like simple programming stuff. Again, like any programming work within 3 years of experience can easily be replaced by AI within the next year. So I've been promoting all my junior staff, junior engineers in the house, trying to equip more human sense, human skills, interpersonal skills, so that I see that product manager or project manager could hardly be replaced, because when you have to deal with all those internal stakeholders and external clients, again, it involves a lot of human skills. The AI is still very far away from that. But if you are receiving a ticket to do a very specific task, very likely that could be done with a ChatGPT prompt in 6 months time very soon. So it's definitely the time for us to discover the true value of human, to find out things that really AI could not do, at least in the next 10 or 20 years, or at least my theory is, as long as we don't give AI human rights, it will still be a human society. And there will still be stuff that we heavily favor human to do. It's not a science problem, it's a human problem. That doesn't mean I agree or disagree AI should have human rights. Like, just for record, in case I ChatGPT 50 years later, find this video and try to kill me. No, I have no view on whether they should have human rights or not. Would creativity be replaced soon? Another question from Wendy. I think yes. If you recall, like the recent like Asian Games, a young Taiwanese player has won Ke Jie, the previous world champion, who also lost to AlphaGo 4 years ago. And the reason why is AlphaGo has totally changed the game of Go. It discovered like tons of new playing tricks that human has never explored in the past 3,000 years. And the trouble right now is Ke Jie, all those previous champions, they have a lot of like old learning that they cannot totally forget. So that like new players growing with AlphaGo, going with the training from AlphaGo, can have no burden from the old raw knowledge and can play much better than old players. So it's also an alarm for us, because we have learned so much in the past. Will very likely be surpassed by the younger people who have no burden from the past and totally learn alongside with AI when they grow up. It becomes our challenge as old guys, how we can unlearn as much as possible so that we can really be absorbed in the world of AI, so that we will not be losing to young kids 10 years younger than us, but because he is like an AI native, so that he actually is much smarter than us.
Yeah, I think it's really great sharing, and also we touch up some career advice as well, because I guess AI is not just change our daily work or daily life. It also change a lot on the work on the different industry as well. So Thanks, Cheney. So it is really great sharing. So for the audience, just stay in touch and we will have another webinar soon. So thank you. Have a good night.
Thank you, everyone. Have a good evening. Bye bye.